Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Quick look here at Solana, seeing what's going on. This is a very interesting situation. We broken below the descending trend line, and we failed to establish higher highs or effectively higher lows. So we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. I don't think this is dire straits by any stretch. We got some support here at 98 to 100 as per usual. But once again, hoping you had taken profit when we were maxing out there yesterday after our analysis at about the 105, 106 mark. So either way you look at it, new to the channel, I hope you learned something here today. If you are essentially trying to become a better trader, CryptoCash.tech has a website. We got some awesome traders over here. Technically, this is my Discord, but jump over to that as well. That's all linked down below. But keep in mind, if you want to become a premium member, it does include premium signals. We took some nice profits here from Solana, 78% in 5 days, Chainlink profit in 33% in 3 days. And then, of course, we got this here as well. Just a heads up, we do have Fed rate meeting here today. We're going to find some results here in about 2 hours as of this recording and kind of see exactly what's going to happen next. So keep in mind, we could see some market volatility at that point. It's very, very common. Just be careful taking trades into that. Adjust your stop loss accordingly. Having said all that, take a look at the Solana. What's going on here? Well, let's double check some backend data first and kind of see where we're at. And then also make sure we understand, generally speaking, what's the best practice here, because we do have a heavy amount of liquidation here at about 108, 109, and it does seem pretty likely that that $110 mark, 110, will be swept eventually, okay? Because again, this is the monthly time frame. We have the most amount of shorts hedged right there at about 108, 109, okay? So to keep in mind, as time progresses, these numbers can change, but literally over the last 3 weeks, we've seen a solid amount of liquidation accumulate at that range. Granted, a lot of accumulation here recently that has been swept already, upwards of about 105, 106. But that is kind of where we're at there on the monthly. I just kind of like to put that out there, throw it out there, just so you know. But if you look at smaller time frames here, while there's a tight amount of shorts here recently within the last 2 or 3 trading days, we can see a ton of longs that could still get demolished, okay? So please understand that. Take profits while you can. It's just important to recognize that. Now, does this mean the price is going to just drop from here? No, not necessarily. Because technically there's a much heavier concentration of liquidation up at the 110 mark, again, based on larger time frames. And whales have a tendency of sweeping larger time frames at any given time, but specifically when you're closer to that range, okay? So to me, that just seems like a bit of an incentive for the whales to push the price action a little bit higher. But what does it look like on the charts? What's the charts telling us here? Because we need to recognize that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not all doom and gloom either, right? This is kind of one of those transitionary time frames. We got to be patient and essentially kind of recognize what's going on. I'm trying to explain that to my community here through some of my videos with Bitcoin, for example. I get it. Everybody wants to take a monster short right now, but we're getting a lot of bullish confirming factors on Bitcoin, and that can translate to coins like this that run very, very concurrent, but also very strong in light of those coins. Keep in mind, though, you got to recognize Bitcoin dominance is on the rise, and that does change things a lot with altcoins, okay? So that's half the reason why we're seeing a stunted growth here. It's like, why doesn't Solana take off? Bitcoin just recovered. Well, there's a lot of factors coming into play. There's profits being taken from altcoins that are extremely profitable, and it's going right back into Bitcoin. It's just kind of a cycle. Okay, so daily time frame here, what's going on? What does that mean for us here? Well, the truth is we're above all moving averages. That's a great sign. We're not massively overextended. We're at like a 6 on TD sequential. We've only been moving about 5 or 6 days in the upward trend. We have effectively a gravestone doji candle from yesterday, followed by a rising star. I forget. For some reason, I always forget the bullish one, but it's a bearish followed by a bullish doji candle so far. Today's candle hasn't closed yet, so we can't really say anything yet. But generally speaking here, we're at a point where we're still above 50 on the RSI. Money flow index is coming down, and stochastic RSI is still swinging up. Those are all positive contributing factors for the most part. We're starting to see a little bit of dissipation there, but not too bad. MACD is also converging too. So what does that mean? Does that really mean that the price action is going to want to drop? It really just tells us that we are at a point right now where hypothetically we hold this $100 mark. We're above a lot of volume profile. We have a tremendous amount of support below us. There's a solid chance we're going to see the price leg up again. That's pretty much what it looks like. So for those who are in that Solana trade that we already have open, you may want to consider leaving that open in the big picture, because again, that's a swing trade designed for the big picture, okay? To all those people who want to take profits within minutes, I would recommend referencing my day trading signals, okay? Swing trades are designed to be a lot different. And if you're expecting instant results, I think you're thinking the wrong mentality. Swing trades can be held for months before you take profit. While it's not ideal to have to wait that long, they're structured to be able to endure those types of hardship, if you will, when the market just crunches down and holds you in a position where you're like, can I hold on to this much longer? Anyways, it's a funny thing, but I just see some people stressing out about a trade that doesn't go perfect instantly, and it's almost hilarious to me. But again, with lack of experience, I get it. So just know over time you'll probably learn what I'm, my system is a pretty good system. Having said all that, even though we lost this ascending trend line, we're still above the 20-day SMA, or at least at this moment we are. It's a positive sign. Okay, so we want to be able to hold that level. We can also acknowledge here that this $99.50/$100 mark is a good level to be able to hold. So staying above that level is important. It does look like it wants to hold, considering this most recent resistance turned into a support level. So that seems pretty likely here at this point. Bitcoin did a very similar situation here recently with that 42,500 mark. Okay, previous resistance turned support. Kind of a standard trading thing, but the key takeaway here is we're above all moving averages, the important one being 200, which is right there at about 97. So it does give us some sense of satisfaction knowing that the price wicked down here twice to $97 range and rejected. That's a good sign. Furthermore, too, if we take a look here, we're still over 50 on the RSI while we're trending down. Stochastic is swinging up, kind of letting us know we have a little bit of a shift in momentum. Money flow index is still above the RSI. That's a good sign. MACD is diverging, of course. That's pretty standard when the price pulls back after being up for so long. Okay, it's a very natural correction. You got to recognize that. Okay, so these things being somewhat of a natural continuation, we should be in good shape. The only caveat here is some really strange, funky FOMC meeting here today, where Jerome Powell gives us some really sideways news and the price goes down. Okay, there's a lot of reasons why the price should continue higher, but at this point, again, that's more of a fundamental catalyst that factors in. You'd be surprised how many of those things occur. Like Bitcoin can be all well and good, then just one day it just tanks and you have no idea why. Well, the market movers know why. The trick is to try to know what they're thinking ahead of time, but it can be very difficult sometimes. Either way you look at it here on the hourly time frame, Ichimoku Cloud, let's go ahead and confirm this here as well. And then just kind of double check a couple things, because again, this is not a bullish sign whatsoever. We're below the cloud, lagging spans free and clear of the price action for a short position, and conversion line is below the baseline. Those are 3 out of 3 reasons not to take a long position. Okay, so by no means are you just going to buy the dip to buy the dip, right? Now again, if you do that, obviously with a spot bag, it's a different story. I added to my position between 80 and 85 very heavy recently. But once more, at this point right now, it's a consideration to consider taking, adding to the spot bag, of course, but if you're considering like a massively large, 100x leverage trade on Solana right now, you're probably on the wrong side of the tracks here. Keep in mind, these trend lines that can work as supports can often turn around and work as a resistance. It's exactly why the cloud is such a nice tool, because it kind of averages those things out for you. So being within the cloud right now, that is basically a no. It's a zero-sum game. It's a no-win analysis. In other words, even though everything else is looking very bullish, we don't have confirmation here that we're above the cloud. We need to be back above that level to ensure that we're on the right side of the tracks. Okay, it's not a 100% guarantee. There are occasions where I'll go without this being a confirming factor. But for right now, with everything else, kind of all the speculation, with everything kind of being funky here today, I would say it's best just to wait. Okay, now again, it's different strokes for different folks, but I'm more of the pump the brakes, calm down, relax, take your time and trade kind of person instead of forcing a trade. Okay, because you guys know what happens when you force a trade, right? You're probably in a forced trade right now, wishing you hadn't. So again, it's all well and good. And am I perfect? Absolutely not. No, I'll be the first to admit that. But I do have a pretty high success rate, and for the most part, a lot of that just comes from being patient and waiting for confirmation. So at this point, not quite there yet, but I would say 12 to 24 hours from now, the price action stays roughly the same here. We should have a natural confirming factor there, being above $100, preferably over 101. Then we'd have a good consideration for a long at that point. But since we already have a long position open, I'm not going to consider a second until we have full confirmation. Okay, if that makes any sense. But once more, we've taken nice profits, almost 80% profit in the last 5 days, so congrats to our Solana holders. Thanks again for the awesome feedback. I look forward to working with you. If you want to become a better trader, cryptocash.tech is a site. Link down below. Make sure you check out Bitunix too. Phenomenal exchange, highly recommended. No KYC or VPN for them. They've taken really good care of our community, and you get some nice bonuses if you do use my link to register. Make sure you check that out, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.